This is a special edition of Yale High School Studio News.
Hello everyone, and welcome to a special edition of Yale High School Studio News. A hint of spring is in the air, and graduation is just a few short months away. Mr. Dykstra met this week with parents of senior students to talk about graduation process and to answer questions. We recorded one of the sessions to share with anyone who is unable to attend. The meeting's highlight include behavior expectations, attire, schedule of events, prom, and senior all-night party, senior week, graduation requirements, and attendance. Hopefully, this video will answer common questions. Mr. Dykstra encourages anyone with additional questions or concerns to contact him directly. Let's take a look.
All right, welcome. I can't believe this speech and this time is already here. Spring break is in a week or so. This year is just flying by. I'll blame it on my age that it seems like that, but it's remarkable how quickly this year has gone, how quickly 12 years has gone for me as well as you, that we've grown up our kids together. So I will try not to get nostalgic in this one. I'm very short-winded usually, so don't take that for trying to get through here too quickly. If you have questions, please ask. I'm going to try and be as detailed as possible, but also respect your time. So the first thing I want to know, or want you to know, is what is in your packet. So if you look at your packet, you're going to have this manila envelope. It is going to have a brochure of events. It will have, and most of you probably have already seen this because this is a pretty responsible class, this contract already. If you haven't seen that, that doesn't mean your student is not responsible. It just means they might have not been there that day or they forgot, which happens. And you're going to see handicapped or need-based seating. Okay, and again, we'll get into all this in a little bit. And you should have two different flyers in there as well. One is from the Yale Expositor, and one is from our ads here in the yearbook. Okay, so everyone should have that. All right, so we want to get into this here a little bit. Graduation requirements. Graduation requirements are 21 credits. You can earn 24 in your career. You can participate in graduation if you have 20.5. You won't receive a diploma, but looking at going through the audits, most students are in a good shape. There's a few we're working with, but everyone should be in good shape to participate. When I met with the students, I did a lot of don't do this, don't do that. Yes, I did, didn't I? And that is my speech to them, because sometimes they don't take this very seriously, but we as parents, we as a school, we as a community take this very seriously. And so why I say that is because one of the first lines on here says participating in graduation is voluntary. Then I tell all the students, go ask your parents if it's voluntary. It's not. We're making them because we're proud of them and proud of their work, and we want to celebrate with them. So that's the one thing in there. This will detail, and some of you have already signed this or seen this. This will just detail the dress. We'll go over that a little bit later. We'll go over some of the behavior expectations in the brochure pamphlet a little bit later. But on the back, if you read like the bold part, I'm not going to read it for you, but if you read the bold part, is basically it says, be on your best behavior. We tend to remember things, unpleasant things, and so do everything you can to be remembered in a pleasant way. And that's how I ended with the students last week, and we want to continue to partner together to make sure our students are representing what we collectively expect them to. Okay, and then we're going to have a great time celebrating from there. But every student, again, it is voluntary. If someone does not want to participate and you're okay with that, you can check that box. But we do need every one of these things back. And we've gotten quite a few back already. So kudos to those students. So looking through here and going through this brochure, all those behavioral rules are on page 1. There's contents and those things. We'll spend a little bit of time going through here. So basically, drinking or drugs or anything like that, that could prevent your teen child, your student, from participating in any of the commencement activities from here on out. Anything that results in a major infraction of our handbook would prevent them from walking. No vandalism. We say there used to be this thing called senior prank. Many a times that involves some kind of vandalism where we have to pick up and stuff. There is no toleration for that. This is the bad part of the meeting, so I'm trying to get it out of the way, and then we can celebrate all the good stuff. Depending upon past record, any violation of the student code could prevent students from participating in graduation. Appropriate attire, footwear, those kind of things. We'll get into that a little bit. And then basically number 6, to ensure an appropriate ceremony for everyone, the contract has to be signed. So one of the other things is we will celebrate as the Dykstras on Saturday night or Sunday or at the open house. What we have to stress to our students and reinforce with each other is it's a ceremony. It is a community. It is our community ceremony graduating the class of 2023. And so that was another thing I emphasized with the students, that this is a ceremony. The celebrations come with your family and or friends. Okay? So if you go on to the next page, and so now we're getting really into the list of senior activities. So on page 2 is the list. Some have dates, most of them have dates. Senior all-night party doesn't, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And all it does is, as you open it up, it just gives you more details about each activity. So on page 3, for example, you'll have senior prom. So senior prom is listed first, April 29, 7 to 11. It's at Biagio's in Kingston. It does seem kind of far away, but it's just as far as Alexander's down Gratiot. If you Google it and on the map, it's just out to a more rural place. We looked at, the senior class looked at, I want to call it Four Lakes. What's it? Solitude Links. That would have doubled the price of the ticket. So the biggest thing is trying to make sure we're being frugal as well. And again, this is what the senior class had decided on. So that one will be April 29. Then you have basically that next weekend off, and then we'll go into prom, or sorry, not prom, we'll go into senior all-night party, and we'll talk about much more detail at the end of this, but that is on May 13, 14. It's that overnight party, and that will be right here in our school, and we'll get to way more details than that in a little bit when I can put this down. And so what we have is senior week. That's what we like to call the last week students are here. We'll have the senior all-night party that weekend, 13, 14, going that Saturday to Sunday, and then we start the traditional senior week. So on Monday, they come to school normal. First, it'll probably be the last time to review those kind of things for exams. And then on Tuesday, they'll go to first hour, second hour, third hour, fourth hour, if it applies. If you're tech and stuff, you go to your tech. You go to Blue Water Middle College, those kind of things. And then in your fifth and sixth hour, if you're here, you will have your exams inside the class. Now, there is a way for students to opt out. It's based off of last year's SAT. It's based off of holding a 90% in their current class. One caveat to that in our attendance policy, and I was also very clear with students on this, shake your head if you think so, okay, is when you get to 13 absences, in the past, it used to be a loss of credit. Now, it's not necessarily a loss of credit, but you have to pass the exam to prove that you have learned all the necessary materials, because that's our summary test of the semester. So let's say someone would forget to come to fourth hour on that Tuesday, and that's their 13th absence. They were originally told they could go ahead and opt out of their exam. No longer can they opt out of their exam because then they would fail the class. They have to take that. So I told the students, be very, very cognizant of your absences. Usually the last 2 weeks of school, they're up bugging Mrs. Bauer like daily, like how many absences I got, how many absences. So if they have to do that, that's fine. It's also on Skyward, those kind of things. Now if it's a medical thing, like always, or Lord forbid a funeral or anything like that, those are medically excused and exempt from that 12, that 13, our attendance policy. But I want to make sure everyone is clear on that. So make sure we'll probably be telling them after spring break that you can opt out because of your test scores and or your performance in that class, but it does hinge on those absences. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So then on that Wednesday, they will come to school first hour and second hour. They'll take their exam third hour, and if applicable, they'll take exams on fourth hour. So tech students, again, they would not necessarily have to take that. But there is no tech that day. We will have mandatory marching practice at 12:15. That's after lunch. So fifth and sixth hour, we have mandatory marching practice. Tech students are done with tech basically on that Tuesday. And so Wednesday, this is where we get into the marching order. We talk about, how to stand up and sit down. Believe me, it's a chore. I'm really excited about this year's group. I think they'll knock it out of the park. But we go through all those things. It takes a couple hours. And then that night is the voluntary religious service that we host here. It's put on by the Ministerial Association Baccalaureate. And so if your student wants to be a part of that, if you want to be a part of that, it's in our gymnasium. Okay? So then the next day, on Thursday, they'll come first hour, take their exam, second hour, take their exam, if, again, applicable. And then we'll have mandatory marching practice after that. This is usually the time. Last 2 years, it's been a really nice day. We'll have them drive down there to the park. We'll go through kind of a dry run of how it looks. Nothing set up, so it's a lot of imagination and stuff like that, but we'll at least get down there and they can see where they start and kind of come down. And I've told the class this too, I've never had a class that for me, for Mr. Flynn, for Mr. Nickel, for Mr. Johnson, and so on and so on. I don't think there's any class that has ever had to have marching practice on Friday. I told them, don't be the first one, because you will live in infamy. We will refer to you every single year. So they laugh too. So I don't think that's going to be the case, but we may need that on Friday, especially going outdoors. There's a whole bunch of different elements that could come into play being outdoors. But then Thursday night, so after that marching practice, they usually go home about lunchtime. We're done. So just so you know, they're out and about. That's the end of their school day. You can require them to do whatever you need them to do, chores around the house, those kind of things. And then that night is senior convocation, senior honors night. So that night, that is a fantastic, it's a longer ceremony, but we're here for education, and it's education awards, it's scholarships, teacher awards, and your students are remarkable. They are fantastic. To me, it's the best night of the year. Yes, my bum gets a little sore from sitting on the chair, but it is unbelievable how much money students earn, whether it be through local scholarships, other kind of scholarships, military, armed forces, those kind of things. And it's a really neat way for students to support their classmates. So we ask It might say mandatory in there, but we really want everyone to be a part of that. Okay. Then on Friday, they don't come to school like at normal time. It's 9 o'clock. It's a senior day. They'll go in through the exterior doors into the cafeteria, so they don't really even come into the building. Typically, there's a breakfast. Then there's also watch the senior video. They get to see their letters. If they wrote themselves a letter in 8th grade or 9th grade or both, they get to have those times. And it's just the last little time for them before they have the ceremony to spend time with each other. If there's not a yearbook, then we have them sign pages that they can insert into the yearbook, those kind of things. So it's a nice little activity, and then they're done for that day. They go home or wherever you let them go. And then I already talked a little bit about when Senior All-Night Party is. It's the weekend before. Because we moved graduation to outside and on Saturdays, the traditional time is Senior All-Night Party would be that Friday night, but it's just with an 11 o'clock graduation, that would be a mess. Yeah, it would be a mess. So we'd all be tired, and so would the kids. We moved it to the weekend before. So commencement, I've already said that. We're planning on it out in the field at the park, at the city park. Notice in there, if you've been through this before, there are no tickets. There are no tickets. It is open to everyone. We're so confident that we're going to be getting it off outside, we didn't even print tickets. So we'll see. So 11 o'clock we will not take Saturday night. So Saturday night, if you want to plan a family dinner and celebration, that will be able to go. But we may do the baseball rain delay to like 2. Like if the storm is moving through, we might just say, hey, so have your socials ready. We'll blast it out on Send It and all that other stuff. But we may do that, especially if Sunday's looking bad. But our backup dates are Sunday at 2 and Sunday at 6. So we're going Sunday at 6 no matter what. That might be the time where we have to say, sorry, everyone gets 6 tickets. We don't have time to do extras and stuff like that, and we have to reset up inside. I don't foresee that, but I feel I need to say that just to make sure we're all on the same page. Told the students about attire. So with everyone being dark, we're gonna, dresses are okay. We ask that everyone wear, it just looks better to have dark under dark, but I'm not that picky on that. The only thing I would say if that's the first time your child has worn heels, that's probably not the right time. The county stage is much more sturdy than our stage, I'll say that. But I've seen very close ones going up and coming down. And then I would not wear stilettos, otherwise you'll be aerating the football field. It's soft, it's May, you're gonna if it's 3 inches, you're gonna drop 3 inches down. And then you might leave a spike in the ground too. So just be aware of those situations. Obviously, purses and those kind of things, you're going to be carrying things. Again, this is a ceremony of the class of 2023. It's a corporate ceremony, individualized stuff. We want to focus on the class of and not the individual. So we ask that there's no adornments like pins, brooches, decorating of the hat, those kind of things, because it's the whole class. Those things bring individual attention. So Mr. Nickel actually had said this story when I heard him one time, but if he was given a necklace with, I think it was a cross, from his grandma. His grandma ended up passing away. He wanted his grandma to be part of his graduation. And so he said he wanted to have her close to his heart. So he had the necklace on during graduation. It was underneath his clothes, even his undershirt, and close to his heart. That's what we ask. I think that's a very nice sentimental story, but it's also applicable if that is the case. Okay? When they come across the stage, I did warn your students this as well. They are getting the diploma covers. I've seen it one time. It was, hey, there's nothing in here. So just be prepared. You're getting the diploma covers when you come across. And so shake your hands, be happy, pretend like it's in there. But at final checkout, which is after the ceremony, it'll be in the concession stand down at the park. They'll get another manila packet. It's way bigger. It has the class composite in it. It has some of those other things. There are some book finds every once in a while that we have to collect and those kind of things, and that's what that final checkout is for. Okay? So, I told you I'm short-winded. I try and go through it all really quickly. Are there questions on this right now? Yes. Not your work boots. Get some nice dress pants or dress shoes or something like that.
That's all I ever wear in my work.
I know you do. Yes.
Okay, so with it being in the park, if it's wet, will it be handicap parking in the park?
So what we do for the football games, yes, we usually reserve handicap parking right there on the side and over toward the other side. I don't think we'll be able to get into the grass at all, but usually there's about 50 of these that are filled out, if I had to guess, and we can easily fit 50 in there. And then the rest of everyone kind of comes up School Drive, in the tennis parking lots, in this parking lot over here, in here, and we do usually have shuttles running, so even if there's someone who got hurt, it seems like ankles are the big thing this year. It seems like there's 4 or 5 kids walking around in boots, so someone just got hurt, we'll have shuttles going with golf carts. So we usually have about 3 that we get that we rent. So okay. Another big thing on that, since I'm thinking about it, is make sure you're here and the graduate is here at least about 15, 20 minutes. Like I tell the graduates, they have to be 15 minutes, so 10:45 at the park. It's not like school, even though school backs up. It still takes some time to get down there. So just plan on being there early. We stumbled upon the 11 o'clock. It doesn't get hot until and then usually the sun's in our face. It's not, you don't get impacted by it, but it's nice, cool of the day, pleasant kind of time to have a graduation. So it should be all right with weather-wise. Any other questions? Yes?
Are you allowed to do burnouts when we leave?
No. Allowed? No. There was an epic one last year, though. Oh my goodness. Yes. No. I don't think the Yale police enjoyed that very much. Okay. Contract. So basically, a contract must be signed. It says return to Mrs. Rapley. Well, that's outdated. Sorry for the proofreading on that one. That one should go to Mrs. Harmer or Mrs. Hoppy. Marching practice, talked about those. Want to make sure I got everything. The seniors mysteriously were absent already on a day. Earlier this year, there is no such thing as senior skip day either. We don't give them that day. That does count towards the 12, but I know they mysteriously weren't here on one day already. So just make sure you are paying attention to their attendance. Cap and gown, one thing I want to talk about that before we get into the class of 2023 with prom and senior all-night party is Jostens tells us don't iron that thing. It will melt. So make sure when you get it, if you have it already, just take it out, hang it up, and just let the wrinkles come out over time. If you're in an emergency, like you forget, I did that one year with our gowns, and I just had to steam up the bathroom with hot water, and I still just had it, and the steam helped take that out. So those would be things, but do not iron that. It will melt, and we will be in some hot water, especially if it's like the night before graduation. So, all right. Kathy, you want to come up and talk about prom?
Yes.
As she's coming.
Well, listen, I'm sorry for getting to get the name right. Okay.
This is the one you guys talked about. I can't go too far away from you.
Okay.
It's attached to me.
Okay, so my name is Kathy Nickel. I'm one of the class of 2023 senior advisors, myself and Mrs. Nickel, the art teacher. So we are the ones who are responsible for prom. No, I don't know the price of the prom tickets yet. That has been emailed to me a couple times. But as a fundraiser for prom, to bring down the cost of it, what we're doing is, you've probably seen these on yards around graduation time. So these are the senior yard signs. I do have a stack of these if you'd at all be interested in filling out an order form. They are on the table as you walk out the door. They are right on the right-hand side. There's a pile of them. So if it's something that you would like to do to honor your graduate, the format is what you see here that's on the printout. If you wanted anything other, my suggestion would be that you actually contact Sirius Graphics. The number is at the bottom for any special things that you would like on the poster itself. It is a two-sided poster, and the cost is $30. So you can pick that up. Another way, so Miss Garcia has a child that is graduating, and she is also an event coordinator. So she has graciously helped us and volunteered her time and some resources for us to help decorate for prom that is going to take place at Biagio's. It's not the pizza joint. Well, it is the pizza joint, but it's actually the hall that's attached to the pizza joint. It's quite a nice hall, but she has offered to help us decorate. And if you have any donations that you'd like to give, you can speak with her. She can kind of tell you the setup and the ideas that we're going for. For example, our flower this year that the students vote on is the lily. The color is, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget. Was it teal or purple? Purple. Okay, purple. There's a quote that goes with it, which you don't need to know yet. So if you have any ideas that you want to pass by with her or share with her or volunteer to help us decorate, we would be more than happy to encourage you to show up before prom and help us with that. Last thing, we are trying to keep the cost of prom down for your sons and daughters. So in that vein, we are graciously accepting dessert donations to do our own dessert table instead of having to buy desserts from the hall. Roughly it would be an extra $5 a person to have desserts provided by Biagio's. So we thought that we could probably do it a little more cheaply than that. So Mr. Fowler, would you raise your hand back there? So Mr. Fowler is standing by the circulation desk. On the circulation desk, there are two sheets of paper. They're both the same sheet that says Prom 2023 Dessert Donations. If you would at all be interested in donating desserts, and you don't have to make them. You can buy them from Sam's Club or even Vinkier, a dozen cookies, a dozen cupcakes, something along that nature. We would greatly be appreciative, again, to diminish the cost of the tickets for your son/daughter/ host person, whatever. So there are two sign-up sheets that are right in front of Mr. Fowler. If there are any questions, I will be here. You can ask me questions. The only other thing above that sign-in sheet, there's a little slip of paper as my reminder, so you can put it on your calendar or something like that to remind yourself. We're asking that the donations be delivered to the school the Friday before prom, which is February 28th. Prom is April 28th. Prom, woo, it would have already happened, huh? Back to the future, so that would, we would appreciate that. I got to think of another word other than appreciate. Mr. Fowler, you're up? Yes? Okay. I'm.
There you go.
Warrior Day.
All right, as we're going through here for our senior all-night party, as you will hear, we will need volunteers. And anytime we're working with students, whether they're 17, 18, doesn't matter, we need to have volunteer forms filled out. So I have 50 of them up here. If you are able, willing, and interested for that senior all-night party to take a shift, to lead an activity, that's what we will need to have filled out. So please come up here and take that, and then I'll talk about some of those other things later. Here. There you go.
Thanks, Mr. D. Okay, yep, I'm Brian Fowler. I've been a part of the Senior All-Night Party Committee. Oh, this one? The All-Night Party Committee since last summer, and the committees did a great job, and we're at that point where we're going to start seeking volunteers, people who can help chaperone the night of. I believe the doors open around 10:30, and it's going to run till 6:30, and we're going to need some help putting stations together and establishing a cleanup crew and things of that nature. So as Mr. Dykstra just said, those chaperone forms are up here, and we could use as much help as we can get.
Am I talking about the rest of it? Well, come up here just in case I forget. So the senior all-night party is here. There's going to be lots of different activities we have planned. One of the activities, I don't know who came up with the idea, but it sounds fantastic, is bowling. Sounds weird, I know, but Lightning Strike Bowling is coming. We've rented them, and they basically out of back of a semi, as I understand it, and it's like a little mini basketball-sized bowling, couple lanes in there. But they have a waiver form we had to sign, so we need anyone that is participating in that to sign a waiver form. On the table that you got your manila envelope is a whole bunch of these. I printed 155 of them. According to my last count, we have 152 seniors. So there should be some left. But we do need this filled out for your son or daughter to go ahead and participate in that event. Because it is a physical activity and all that other stuff. Okay. Go ahead, I'll just hold it. Very
Okay.
awkward, really.
Right. Okay, yes, as everyone has said, we definitely need some volunteers. And from what I understand, we do need a copy of a driver's license at central office and that volunteer form filled out. If you're on Facebook or not on Facebook, that's where a lot of the information is. But if you're not on Facebook, see me afterwards and I can maybe email you some stuff. Some of the activities that we have going on that we need help with is one of the big ones is a cornhole tournament. The students are going to be able to sign up for that, but we need someone to kind of be the leader of that and kind of decide how many. Is it going to be a single, double elimination? You know, we have the grand prize or the number one winner is going to get a cornhole board, and then of course his partner or her partner will also get one. So we had one generously donated, and then we're buying another one. So whoever who wants to be the leader or the coordinator of that needs to get some volunteers and decide how they want to run it. And if you decide that you want a second or third place prize, talk to us and we were very successful in our fundraising, thanks to everybody who sold tickets. We're also going to have a volleyball tournament that Mrs. Dykstra is going to lead, and she'll need help and volunteers. And it can be, the volunteering can be if you need, if you're not a night person, but you want to come in at 4 a.m., we'll take it. But we need help. The second thing is we are definitely going to have food available. We've already have someone in charge of that, but they will need help. They will be reaching out as well to see who can, volunteer. And again, I'll have to find a different word than volunteer. Some of the other things that we have going on is a kind of a game room, good old-fashioned board games, Jenga, sorry. We had some board games that were generously donated for that. And he said the bowling. We're going to have a photo booth. We're going to have a magician and a hypnotist at the end. A couple of the big things is, and we just found out tonight that possibly there could be a bus route picking kids up. We need the parents to pick up the kids afterwards. Everyone's tired, and the consensus was that we did not want our children driving home afterwards. So that's going to be part of what you're signing, is when you're volunteering. And when we do sell the tickets, which we're doing the week after spring break, we need someone to help sell tickets during lunchtime, is that we'll need you to know that if the student is coming to the all-night party, that they do need to be picked up by a responsible adult that morning at 6:30 in the morning.
What time is senior all-night party?
Doors are going to open at 9:30, but they will close at 10:30. So we'll have about an hour to get everybody in, and there will be some kind of notes up on the tickets. They don't need to bring anything in. If they have to have a medication or if the women need something, we're going to lock that up, and to get to it, an adult will have to go with them. And I know the school is going to be kind of sectioned off, and so they're only being allowed in certain spaces. Another thing that we really need some help with is 2 of the rooms that we have ideas for. And if you have a different idea, we're getting close, but don't hesitate to offer up a suggestion. A carnival room, something with, throwing the balloons and win a prize, pick up a duck, win a prize, those types of things, maybe 3 or 4 different activities for them to do. We, again, from our generous donations, are able to give each participant a very nice congratulation gift. And we've had a young lady going around making purchases during Black Friday and getting some really good sales. And so I think the kids are going to be really excited about that.
How much are tickets?
Tickets are $20. So we try to make that, again, real reasonable. And, there's always talk about, the kids get the money back. Well, they're going to get it back in prices. We're going to try and do things a little bit different. We're really excited to have it back at the high school. I don't know how many of you had yours at the high school. I never had one, so this will be mine. Any questions for me or Mr. Dykstra?
What day is it?
May 13th, Saturday night, May 13th. Yep. And you can text me. Again, I don't really want to give it out right here, but if you need to come to me, I can give you my cell phone and my email address if you have any questions. Thank you.
So especially if you're a cornhole expert and know how to run tournaments, please sign up if you can only to lead that. But we do need volunteers. I think the best we can do is shifts. That's what we've done in the past. I haven't actually made it through an entire one before. This may be the first one, and we'll see how the graduation speech goes a week later. Hopefully I catch up on my sleep, but those kind of things. So are there any questions for me, for us, for the betterment of each other? Okay, make sure we get this in as soon as possible. I kind of gave the students the deadline of spring break. Then we can check that off our box. Hold on to these because this will be your brochure of events. Moving on, if you need to fill out the special seating, please fill that out. You can leave it today or you can bring it in later. And then your volunteer forms, as well as if your child, student, teen is going to participate in the bowling, we just need that waiver filled out. Okay, thank you for coming. Have a great evening.